greetings everyone, and welcome to another great episode of Office Pro TV. I am your host, Daniel Lowry, and in today's episode, well, we are moving forward in our Excel Essentials, and that's 2016 for those of you keeping score. And joining us in the studio to help continue our knowledge base, growing and growing, that is our good friend, Miss Vaughn Smith. Vaughn, thank you for joining us today, and how are you?
I'm fantastic. Always glad to be here. And I always like to start at the very beginning, and that's what this episode is about. Well, we had our introduction, and now we're moving on to Excel basics. And really, this is more, not just Excel basics, this is also more Windows in general basics, and just getting started from the very beginning. We don't like to hypothesize about anything, so that's why I like to cover all the basics and get us started before we move on into like typing in text and doing all our fun formulas. Well, that's actually a separate show, but but we'll get started in Excel after we do this. So I have our computer. We are using Mr. Justin Timberlake's computer, just like if you've watched some of our Word shows. You might see this desktop, this beautiful scenic view. So
the timber on the lake. It's very
it
nice.
is. I know. I love those little puns. I'm so funny. All right. So we have our computer, and we need to start Excel. That's step number one. So where do we go to start Excel? Well, you can always go to your Start menus. And I am using Windows 10, like we talked about in our introduction when we were going over our setup here. So I can go to my Start menu, and it brings up everything that is in my computer, all my programs. And I can scroll on down to the E's, because it alphabetizes for us now, and I can launch Excel right here. I tend to not always go, I don't go to the Start menu anymore.
Really?
No.
You get like a quick start menu or a quick launch menu?
No, I just type it
in.
I type it in the search, yeah. I've just gotten so used to doing it that way.
If you've got Windows 10, you could do the Cortana. Cortana, start Excel for me.
Yeah, I'm not
You're not going that far.
I don't even use Siri the way it should be used. It's just like, I just type everything in. I guess I'm old school like that or something, or just, I don't know. I don't want to hear myself talk or something.
You're so 3 years ago.
I don't want to hear myself talk and look at what I do for a living.
Look, Don says he doesn't like talking to computers. So he's like, I'm not doing that.
That's awesome. Oh, we're such a weird bunch.
Yes, we are.
So I do like to use the search, which is right down there, and all I have to do is type in like the letter E, X, and then it brings it right up, and then I hit enter. I'm also more of a keyboard person too, so I guess that's why I like that. So I could go ahead and always launch it from that Windows help or Windows search right down there, and it starts it right on up.
I've always found the Excel green very soothing to my eye. I don't know why.
I think it's the green.
It's very nice.
Yeah, I mean, green's a very, very calm
It makes
color.
me feel like I'm going to like this program for some strange reason. I don't know why. Even though I know it's madly difficult or can get there. But
well, you know, I think it's one of those, this program is very misunderstood, I think, sometimes. And people are like, oh, I need so much help in Excel. But they do all these like kind of advanced things that Excel does, but then they're like, how do I get the lines to show up? I'm like, what do you mean? You know, the lines between the I'm like, oh, the borders? Like, yeah. I'm like, oh, and to me, I'm like, that's like super basic, but it's one of those, and I feel like people kind of skip over the basics, and they want to go right to the middle of the book. And it's like, no, just start from the beginning. And that's why we always start all of our shows, all of our different programs with the very, very beginning. Start with the basics, which a lot of people skip over, and then they realize, like, oh, that's how you do that. So that's my philosophy on all of these programs. But yes, Excel does a lot of stuff. And it gets out of the realm for me too, where I'm just like, I have no idea how you made that function work properly. And so when we're talking about calculations, that's what I'm talking about with functions. So, but yes, it is very soothing, and we have our start screen right here. And just like with all of our Office products, like Word and PowerPoint and Excel, we have our most recently used items over here on the left that we could go ahead and click on to open a file. And we also have some of our blank workbooks, our templates that we can choose from. And these templates that we have in here, like the academic calendar, the process map, these are all of the ones that come with the program. And if you're connected to the internet, they are from Office Online. So if you're not connected to the internet, it won't show these types of things. Like I was just recently on a plane, actually prepping for this show, and I'm like, oh yeah, I don't have the go in flight thing or what have you, so I wasn't connected to the internet, so I didn't see any of these things. So that does kind of play into. But if you're not connected to the internet, it'll only show you some like the locally installed ones, like the low amortization and a couple others that have been there since forever ago. That's always been.
I wrote my own in C.
Really?
Loan amortization, yeah, I did that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just for fun?
No, because I couldn't find a loan amortization program, and I didn't know how to do it in Excel because we haven't shot this show yet. I'm very Excel ignorant, by the way.
So you went to C, the programming
Well, I was
language.
learning that, and I thought, oh, I'll bang this out in, a few 12 or 13. Yeah, I'm like 500 lines deep. It works really well.
I mean, you could have just opened Excel and clicked the template, typed the little things in, and it just spits it right out for you. Hey, you know what?
Where were you last week? Okay, where was Vaughn?
We like to take those roads less traveled sometimes.
Really let me down there, V.
Well, I'm here to help you now.
Well, thank goodness, because this should be a whole lot easier than doing it the way I did it.
Yes, it will be. So I will expand your knowledge in Excel now.
Teach me, Obi-Wan.
Awesome. So we have our start screen from Excel, and we're going to go ahead and just start a blank document to just get familiar with everything within our windows. But before we leave here, another thing that I like to do about starting up Excel, you can see that right now down on my taskbar, I have Word down here that's pinned to my taskbar, just like I have Outlook as well. So if it's programs that I'm going to be using frequently, like through this entire Excel show for the next couple weeks that we're going to be filming this, I'm going to pin it to there. So you could do this for any programs. This is not Excel based. This is Windows, really. If you right click down on there, you can see pin to taskbar, and when I click on that, next time that I close Excel down, it's just right there for me to quickly click.
Quickly click?
Yeah, that's hard to say. Quickly click on. Yes.
I have to do that as a microphone test from now on.
Yeah, that's going to get all jumbled for me. So
After the taco truck.
Exactly. So we have our blank workbook, and I will just go ahead and click on it, and it goes ahead and starts Excel. So what can I do from here in just basic window land, in a sense? Every window that you have has a title bar up at the top, and this title bar is telling me that I'm in Book 1, Excel. So that's my program. Over here on the right-hand side, you have your basic Windows controls for minimize, restore down. It says restore down right now, but it also will become your maximize button as well. And I have my close, the big red X. And notice that you also have your tooltips that happen. That's that hover to discover that we have in all of our basic computers, to where, or basic rules of computers, I say. Hover to discover to see that that's what those buttons will do for you. So if I click minimize, that minimizes the program, but it does not close the program or the file that I am currently using. So it's still there. And I know that it's minimized because it's got that little kind of blue bar down at the bottom. Well, zooming in doesn't really help there. But there's a tiny little blue bar underneath there that says that there's something open in that particular program. Just like I also have some other things. I have some keyboard shortcuts URLs that I have, but you can see I've just minimized it so I don't see it. So how do I bring it back up from the taskbar? You just click it, and then it brings that back up. Also, when we get into multiple ones, you can see when I hover over that icon down at the bottom of the taskbar that it shows me the different open or active files that I have opened within this particular program. So there we go. We have minimize. Now this one right here, this is our restore down button. Because right now this is a maximized window. If I click on this, you can see that it restores it down to a now floating window, if you want to say, that I can move around within my environment. Now how do you move this around? By that taskbar, or sorry, that's not the taskbar, that's the title bar. The title bar, you can go ahead and move this around, because if you have multiple open windows, you want to kind of do this, that's totally fine. Now you can see that this button in that particular place has turned to a solid, like just a square, and now it is our maximize button. When you click on that, it will maximize to the full screen within your monitor. Now that's of course if you have a single monitor, but whatever monitor you have, whether you have 2, 3, 4 monitors, it will maximize to that particular space. So that's what we have with those particular buttons. And then you have the big red X, which is closing the entire program, the whole program and the file as well. So So let's do that. I click on the red X, it closes it down. Excel has closed and the file that I was working with has been closed. Cool. Now, what about getting into files that I've already created? File open. There's, well, a couple ways you could do this. I have files on my desktop right here. I have our Christmas cats example file that we'll be seeing. I wonder what's going to be in there. More cats.
Dogs on Halloween.
So you can just double click the file from your desktop or your Windows Explorer, the little icon right here, or there's also Windows key E. If you have a Windows key, there's like an actual Windows key on the keyboard to the right-hand side. And then E for Explore. Or you can just click this button right here, which goes ahead and brings this up. So it doesn't matter where you're opening it from on your computer. If you just double-click that Excel file, it will open that file. All right. Well, there's another way you could do it. If you start Excel up first, and I've clicked it on the taskbar down there at the bottom, brings this back up, you can see that there is Open Other Workbooks right here on the bottom left-hand side of this green pane. And when I click on that, it takes me to what is known as the backstage view, but this is also what I just call it the file menu. I still call it the file menu, even though menus have been gone from Office products since I think 2003 is when they started.
Yes, I think so. That's when.
Was it 3 or 7?
I think 3, right? I want to say 3.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with 3.
I think we're going to go with 3 too.
That's when they came out with their first iteration of the ribbon.
Of the ribbon, yeah. And they had the little office button at the top that people were like, where's the file menu?
What is going on?
Yeah, and it got a little confusing. So I think we're settled into this kind of look by now. But this is our backstage view, our file menu. And then I can go with Open, which I'm already on. And then I can go down to Browse, but you can see it does bring me into different places like my OneDrive account if I have that set up from whatever Office 365 subscription that I have. If you don't have an Office 365 subscription, well, then you don't have this particular version of OneDrive. There is a OneDrive that comes with your operating system.
Yeah, there's like a free version that they give you.
Yeah.
Because they want you to get your feet wet in some sort of cloud service from Microsoft.
Yeah, but there is a difference between your OneDrive connected to your Office 365 and your OneDrive that comes installed with the operating system of Windows 10. And they are different. They are 2 separate locations, which I think that's a little confusing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if they do this. If they don't, they should. Is if you do end up getting a Office 365 subscription, yes, they should merge together and become one thing, one point of contact. And if you ever delete your subscription or don't renew, then it would drop you back to the free tier operating system level.
I completely concur with that the sentiment because it is extremely confusing for people.
Yeah.
And so that's where, or name it differently.
Microsoft, if you're listening, just one man's musing, just saying.
And that's why we're here to help you try to differentiate all of those different things. But yes, in a perfect world, it would work like that, but it doesn't. So we have to think of, okay, it's like 2 different purses.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's where I go to.
Oh, me too, right there. And I love my purses.
Exactly. So we have 2 different places that we can go to open our files, OneDrive, and there's OneDrive right there, and then we have Browse to where we can go anywhere within. To me, this is like the old school dialog box. I like this one. I'm used to it. It's comforting to me. So then I can go out to my desktop or to whatever folder that I have my files in, which is sometimes the hardest part is remembering where your files are. That's why that search is always good. Windows search is awesome. So I can open up the Christmas Cats example. And now I have our Christmas Cats weekly sales. Beautiful. And now I have an open file. Well, what if I want to start another file because I'm going to be like copying and pasting from one place to the other, and so I need to take some stuff out of this file and put it into a new file and do a save. So we're going to cover all of that. We're not going to do the copy and paste, but just working with multiple windows. So now I'm going to come back over to File, and now I have this new button or new option here. And then it says, well, what do you want to start with? Do I want to start with a blank document or from a template that is from Office Online or built-in? I'm going to say blank workbook. And now I have 2 files that I'm working with. So working with multiple windows, a few things that we can go over. I do know that I have 2 files because you can barely see it, and it's probably not going to come through on this recording either, but it's almost like there's stacks. There's 2 like pieces of paper that are going on in this icon down at the taskbar. And the other thing that I can see when I hover, I'm not clicking anything, I'm hovering over to see that I have the Christmas cats and I have the book 1. So this is where if I want to switch back and forth, I can just hover, click on Christmas cats, and now this is my active workbook or window really that's in front. Hover over, go ahead and click on book 1, and then I can move back and forth between those different workbooks that are fully maximized on the screen.
It seems like Windows is grouping like items together.
It sure is. That's exactly what it's doing. So, and this is where if you had Word, you would have the same thing. I could have 3 Word documents open and 3 Excel documents or workbooks. Sorry.
I don't know if anybody out there remembers the nightmare that used to be the old taskbar before this style. Yeah, you just had, it was all across the thing and went crazy. It would start jumping up levels. It was insane. This is the much better version.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, oh, any Word documents I have open, I just hover over to the Word. Oh, Excel, not a problem. Do the exact same thing. Keeps it a little neater and cleaner.
Yeah, because every single instance of a file was 1 icon on the taskbar. It was definitely a little bit of a mess. So yes, grouping is fantastic. So I can start going ahead and going back and forth with my Excel documents. Now there's some other things that we could do if I need to like see one file next to another file. Ooh, there's some cute things that Windows will do. Now I said that we could use this restore down button that's on our buttons over on the right hand side, but the title bar, the other thing you could do is if you grab the title bar and like click, hold, and drag down, it's almost like undocking it from its maximized view, and then you let go, and then you've pulled it down. The same way, by the way, if you double click on a title, it will maximize the window. And again, this is all Windows. This is not Excel exclusive. This is like your File Explorer. So anything can work with that. So I'm going to click, hold, and drag down and pull this to float this. I'm going to come over here to Christmas cats, do the same thing. Click, hold, drag down. So now I have 2 of these windows, or yeah, they're windows, here in Excel that I can kind of start moving around and resizing, get my 2 pointed white arrows on either sides of any of this. But there's also some things that you can do within Windows that I just think I call it cute because it's cute to me. You can dock them to the sides of your monitor. So if I grab the title bar, click, hold, and drag, just keep on going, going, going. You see how as soon as I get close enough to the edge, it kind of ghosts this area to the back of it. When I let go, it docks it right up into that side of the screen. Now the cool thing is that it brings up, oh hey, you know what? I'm actually seeing quite a few different other windows that you have open, like the Excel URLs that I have in Edge right now, and I also see that book too. So this, again, straight up Windows, I can pull up and dock 2 things next to each other and compare them, if you want to say, side by side. I click on book 1, all I have to do is click it, and it automatically goes ahead and puts it next to each other. I love that little trick. It's really, really handy. And now that you've put them next to each other, you can do the same thing that we did before. Just grab those title bars and then go ahead and click, hold, and drag down, undock them from their locations, and then you can maximize them. You can double click on the title bars, coming back over, hovering, coming to book 1. So it remembered like the size, if you want to say, the restored down state, and then I can maximize them back up. So just working around multiple windows. Now another thing that I love keyboard shortcuts. So switching back and forth between multiple windows all together. If you hold your Alt key on your keyboard and then click your Tab key, you see it brings up, and I'm still holding the Alt key down on my keyboard, by the way. I just clicked the Tab key, and if I click the Tab again, click, 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 do you see how that little white box is going around to say that when I let go of my Alt key right now, that will become my active window. So hold the Alt again, click, click, click the Tab. Okay, I want the book 1, let go, then there's book 1. I love Alt Tab. It's fantastic.
So Vaughn, tell the truth. That you learned this little trick while you're searching TMZ or whatever it is you're doing, and then the boss comes walking by, you can quickly alt-tab and, oh no, I was in this Excel spreadsheet right here. I don't know what you're talking about, TMZ, and I don't even know what that is.
I've never done that. No.
Guilty.
Of course. But then, of course, if you had somebody that they can look down at your taskbar, like, because I've done that, because you might catch a glimpse, and I'm like, and I look down, I'm like, oh, and especially back in the day when you had all of those open, you're like, okay. But yes, that is a quick little way that's really fun. Also, while we're doing it, if you want an even quicker way of like just minimizing everything, there's your Windows key D. I can't do it because I don't have a Windows keyboard. But Windows key D for desktop, and it will minimize everything and show your desktop. Love that.
Great shortcut.
Oh, it's the best. So those are a lot of my favorites. All right, so now let's talk about, let's get to the right one. We have a file here, and this is a file new, so it does not have any name or home. It doesn't have a location of where it's going, or what we're going to save, okay? So the difference between save and save as. Well, right now, with a brand new workbook, they're the same thing because it doesn't have a current file name and a current location of where it's stored. So that's where this is the only time save and save as will ever be the same. So if I click on save, notice it's always going to go to save as, but there's where that difference is. Like save as is where you want to take whatever current document that has a file name and location, and you want to save it as something else. Whether it's changing the location, maybe you've made some changes. Because let's actually switch back over here to the Christmas cats. Let's say I have this Christmas cats, super cute, and I came in and changed something from the week of the 3rd to
the 10th, so it's the week of the 10th.
Oh, okay, perfect. I was gonna go with a date that I can remember. I'm like, I don't remember what day it is. So if I go into here, now I've made my change. But if I did a save right now, it would save this change to this file, and I don't want that to happen. I want it to have Christmas Cats example with the same July 3rd there. This is going to be a different one, so I'm going to do a file save as. Sometimes people said, like, oh, I just know if I do that, I make a copy. Like, it's a copy of that. I'm like, okay, I can.
It can be used to do that.
Yeah, at least the idea of, like, I'm not changing the original.
Right.
So that's like, however it goes best in your brain of don't change the original, then that's where you go.
I always think of it in the idea of, okay, I've got the original, this is Christmas Cats, right? And then I want to make some changes, and I don't want to worry about what I've done. Like, I could just make some really bad changes and not worry about it, but I wanted to save those changes. I had Christmas Cats, it's my original, then I would save as Christmas Cats 1 with all my changes. That way I could compare and contrast the two together. And then if I made more changes, Christmas Cats 2, Christmas Cats is still pristine in the original state. It hasn't been touched. It's still lovely and beautiful the way it should be. And I can continue to make changes and see changes that I've made throughout the history. So that's how I like to use it.
Exactly. Yeah, perfect explanation.
Oh, well, thank you.
Lovely, lovely. So now if I've made my changes, I do a file save as, just like we did, and now I can name it Christmas Cats example 2.
Yeah.
And then you start doing 2, 3, 4, come back 3 years later.
You're like, why do I have 12 Christmas Cats? This is ridiculous.
Yeah, like it meant something to you back in the day where it was like version 2, version 3, and you come back a long time later.
Yeah, every so often it is a good idea to like go, you know, Christmas Cats version 6 is rock solid. I'll go ahead and delete 5 through 0.
Yeah.
You know, I know 6, and then rename that Christmas Cats.
Yep, I've done it so many times. So you can see I can change the name. I can also change the location. Maybe I want to put this into my Documents instead of the desktop. So within this dialog box, there is this little select to navigate one level up. Well, one level up is this PC, so I really probably shouldn't go there. Again, this is just me and my old school ways. I'm just not as comfortable with this interface of doing the file save as. I always go over here to the browse and go to this dialog box. I know it's the same. It's the same thing, but I'm just comfortable in this one, so I could say I want to put it into like my documents, name it. I can keep the same name and a different location, and it becomes 2 different files. That's where you can really get yourself confused. So always make sure you change that. And if you do you see on mine right here where I'm showing extensions on my computer, don't change over the file name, like the extension, I'm sorry. Right. You see that dot?
The dot something.
Yes. Anything with a dot and then to the right, do not mess with that. Because if you remove that dot, it can get a little weird. Now, it is saving it as an Excel file, so it should be all right, and it should catch you, but just be a little careful of that when you have show extensions on your system. So I will name this 2 in front of the period, click Save, and now I have that. And I am now in that particular document. That is my current document. So if I did a file open and then went back over to our desktop from the browse, because I want to go this way, I go here to desktop, here's my Christmas cat. See, there's the one with the 3. Looking at our title bar, yep, Christmas cat's example is 3. Hover, where's my example 2? This is the one with the 10. So that's where we have our save versus save as. Save, just update changes, because if I came over here and said, oh, there we go, there's all the changes to this file, file save, I have updated that file, and now it has remembered those changes. Cool. So very basics of how to use your Windows, how to do some basic functions like file new, file open, file save as. We also have file close. Now, it used to be that they had like a couple different buttons here, but now if you just do a red X right now, remember I have 3 Excel files right now. If I close this, it's closing that whole file down. But there's other ones open, so the program's still open. So if I close this, now if I'm here, there is an actual command for file close, which is right here. Notice when I do that, it's closing the file, but the program still stays open. So that's where it's a little different. And they've gotten much better of like, just hit the red X until it closes everything down, you're fine. So it doesn't kind of have as much separation as it used to back in the day. But I did want to go ahead and at least show you that they are 2 separate things, close the program versus close the program file. Let me minimize that. And the last thing I just wanted to kind of touch on is just understanding your keyboard. Just knowing that you have, if you have a fully extended keyboard, you have some groups of keys in your middle, that like the home and page up, page down, and you also have your number pad. There are some links in the show notes that give you some examples of keyboards and just like the whole idea about input devices. Now, if you're on a laptop, like me, you might not have like your home and your end and your page up and page down. So some of the different keyboard things that I'm going to be talking about in the navigating a document, you might not have access to. So having a full-size keyboard versus a not full-size keyboard, or if you're like me, you're using Windows 10 in a virtual machine on a Mac. So I have a whole other set of interesting things on top of that. So just kind of get familiar with those different things, like what does the enter key do? Sorry, the return. No, it is the enter key. Well, it's return on a Mac. You know, the space bar, the tab key, just being familiar with that, because we will be going over that in the next episode. So that is my conclusion of Excel Basics.
All right, Vaughn. Well, that is a great introduction to our Excel Basics, and just going back to what you said at the beginning of the episode, talking about jumping into the middle or doing more advanced things and that being your starting spot not being a good idea. I totally agree with you, even though I'm guilty as charged to have had to do that myself. So it's good for us to just get that good foundational knowledge so that we can build upon that and maybe even understand better what it is we already know, if we do know something, as we move along down the road. So Vaughn, thanks for joining us today and teaching us these things. We do thank our audience for watching. Signing off for Office Pro TV, I've been your host, Daniel Lowry.
And I'm Vaughn Smith.
We'll see you next time.